Folks, my name is John Moore. I am the host of News Talk 1010's delightfully named Moore in the Morning. And I'm very, very happy to be here today with some very esteemed guests to launch Speak Up Toronto. It's a new campaign brought to you by Toronto's 4 children's aid societies. They're all represented here today. Also by Boost Child and Youth Advocacy Centre and the Toronto Police Service. It's a pleasure to have the Chief of Police with us today. Good morning, sir. This is a great day in the life of our city. And I don't mean because the Blue Jays are playing tonight. I mean it's because on an occasion like this, we affirm once again that Toronto acts as a community, that we collectively care for each other. This morning, we'll be hearing from 2 former youth who have been in care and who are in care. They'll use their voices as spoken word poets to remind you and Torontonians that everybody has a role to play in protecting children and youth from abuse and neglect. As well, you're going to hear the details of an exciting radio campaign. I'm always excited about anything to do with radio. The campaign is supported by Bell Media Group, PhD Canada, and my own station, News Talk 1010. And the radio ads begin airing later this month. We're a little cluttered right now with the party leaders fighting on our own airwaves, so we'll leave that until the 19th and then launch the campaign. But the theme and the message are simple. Protecting kids from abuse and neglect is everybody's business. We all share this as a community. Let me begin by introducing some of the folks who are here today as a part of the Speak Up Toronto campaign. Ken Richard is the Executive Director of Native Child and Family Services. Janice Robinson, Executive Director, Catholic Children's Aid Society of Toronto. David Rivard, Chief Executive Officer, Children's Aid Society of Toronto. Talia Breslin, Director of Child Welfare, Jewish Family and Child. Karen Kennedy, President and CEO, Boost Child and Youth Advocacy Centre. And finally, Mark Saunders, Chief of Toronto Police Service. And at this time, it is my great pleasure to introduce Janice Robinson, Executive Director of the Catholic Children's Aid Society of Toronto, to come forward and say a few words on why we need just such a campaign in this Child Abuse Prevention Month. Welcome.
Thanks, John. Hello, everyone. It is an honor for me to stand beside my colleagues from organizations in this community who serve children and youth. October is a special time of year when children's aid societies across Ontario shine a light on the well-being of children and youth in our community. It's a time when we talk about the need for all of us to work together to prevent child abuse and neglect. And today we're celebrating a fabulous example of working together to protect kids. This year, the 4 children's aid societies in Toronto, Boost Child and Youth Advocacy Centre, and Toronto Police Service have come together in a joint campaign called Speak Up for Kids Toronto. And I want to say a huge thank you to Police Chief Saunders for hosting us this morning. We are delighted that our young people, Hanna and Troy, are adding their voices to the Speak Up for Kids campaign, sharing their spoken word poetry and their talent, speaking about their experiences as former youth in care. Thanks to all of you. As John said, at the heart of this campaign is a clear and simple message. Child abuse prevention is a shared responsibility. We depend on the members of the community to share with us your concerns about vulnerable children or youth. It takes more than children's aid, advocacy organizations, or the police to keep kids safe. It takes you to make that call, share the worry that you have, speak up on behalf of that child or youth. 9 times out of 10 in our city, the calls that come to a children's aid come from professionals or agencies that provide services to children or youth. Yet we know that family members, neighbors, and friends are often in a position to know what's happening to children long before abused and neglected children come to the attention of a professional. You don't need to be professional to make the call about a vulnerable child. And as the law guides us, you don't need to be certain. You just need to suspect that abuse is happening when you call the children's aid. You just need to use your best judgment. A call to a children's aid society leads to an offer of help to a family. When we receive a call about a child, a trained child welfare worker assesses the situation using a professional and standardized process. The worker assesses what's going on, gathering information to see if further assessment is necessary and what steps need to be taken to reduce the risk to that child. The majority of families we work with are able to address safety concerns while keeping their child or children safely at home. Over 90% of the time, children remain in their own homes while Child Protection Services work with their families. Children's Aid Societies offer a wide range of services to children, and we can also help connect families to the services they need, such as mental health services, help with housing, parenting programs, or other issues. We know that you genuinely care about kids, but many of you have anxiety about reporting child abuse or neglect. And so to help with this, we're asking you to learn about the signs of abuse and neglect. Visit the website of any Children's Aid Society for further information on these signs, or call us. Ask us your questions, share your concerns. We are here to respond. Speak Up for Kids Toronto is a call to action for all the members of this community. And if we work together, we can prevent abuse and neglect, offering help early to a family. We can intervene when abuse has already happened, to stop it or to prevent it from worsening. Anyone who's worried about a child or youth, who suspects a child is being abused or neglected, call your Children's Aid Society. Tell us what's happening. Speak Up for Kids Toronto. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. What a great pleasure to be able to introduce our first spoken word performer. He's a young man, he's an amazing talent, describes himself as an educated man with spoken word as his hobby and science as his passion. Comes from humble beginnings and faced many challenges growing up in care, learned to express himself through simple interaction with family, siblings, and friends, those who, and this is always the most important thing, those who believed in his abilities and the potential that he would succeed. He has very supportive parents who challenged him throughout his years to perform at his best. Spoken words for him is a means of expressing himself and exploring his ability to view and understand the world around him, and he's very good at what he does. He's not only a spoken word performer, he's in his third year of biotechnology studies. Please welcome, performing a piece that is entitled Paper Bonds, Troy Elliston.
Thank you. So I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to be here today. I'm here with my father, who's in the back. He's bald, so you can... Anyway. So, paper bonds. It is a paradox that I cannot decipher. Why a child would rather his papers than his toys, unlike most children around him. You see, we are humans, made weak by the daily wear and tear of living and dead cells shed between each breath, all having a desire for something. Mine starts with a blank page and a pen. Dear paper, I remember the first time you cut me. The paper cut revealed my ability to feel and to bleed and increased my tolerance and threshold for pain. I remember the stinging suffering I sustained from the opening of my epidermis. I never wanted to touch you because I thought you were dangerous. I thought your edges were too thin for me to hold you as I attempted to leak black ink all over your face. But I learned to appreciate your body. As the world runs after a figure that does not quite exist, without you, my pen does not work. It's useless. You see, you are a canvas for my expression, a means to amplify the world, the complexion of a world which I now understand. You are the one constant, the only one I can bond with. I know it's nonsense to everybody else, but to me it's awesome. Ubiquitous for your capacity to contain information. You store millions of words on your page like an enormous database. You come in different colors and shapes and have lines and margins all over your body, prepared for me to write all my thoughts and questions to you, like, where were you when I most needed you? Dear paper, it's been 4 years. It's been 4 years and this question still hasn't gotten answered. Yet I wait with humility, hoping that all my mysteries will be solved and all misery dissolved, like he was never here or he was never there, and I don't know why he neglected me, and I keep taking it out on you. Like my first thought is to take my pen and jab it into your chest, wedging a hole in it, and then crumple you up and throw you away, and yet you recycle yourself just for me, changing your purpose for someone else and giving your heart to another source. Dear paper, you're so selfless, but I'm selfish. I want you all for myself. No one else can pour out their mind to you like I do. Nobody else can envy your silence like I do. Nobody else knows you like I do, because I know you like I do. Like I do everything on paper to savor the moments between us. Like when a great idea comes, I come to you to write it down and deplete all your space, expanding upon the idea. Like or as can be used to describe, in fact, compare words and metaphors. I learned that in grade 3, remember? You were on my desk. I practiced cursive, leaking ink from my pen onto your face. I recognized that you were open for conversation. It was all worth it because you allowed me to speak my mind. Dear paper, I'm proud to say that you are my best friend and that it was truly you that I needed most. Sincerely, me.
Wow. Thank you, Troy. It's a tough act to follow. I talk for a living and I feel really inarticulate right now. Next, I'd like to ask Talia Breslin from the Jewish Family and Child to come forward and introduce our second spoken word performer. Talia.
Good morning, everyone. I feel truly fortunate today. Sorry, I'm being told you can't hear me. I feel very lucky today to be able to introduce Hanna to you all. Hanna was brought into care at Jewish Family and Child when she was 12 years old. As many of you know, this is not an easy adjustment for youth and children to make, but Hanna did it, and she has flourished. She is the true definition of resiliency and courage. She is not only one of the founding members of our Jewish Family and Child's youth group called the Just Us League, but she is also a mentor to many of the young children who come through our agency. I'm also thrilled to share with you that just last month, Hanna started her undergraduate degree at York University. Hanna is beautiful, she's strong, and you're about to see she's very talented. Everyone who meets Hanna says that there's just something about her. She's infectious, and she's amazing to be around. I'll let you see that for yourself. Hanna, come on up.
It was when he asked me, where is home, when I broke. 5 homes, 5 schools, and 7 years later, I still have yet to find this place. I consistently compose myself as somebody who knows where home is, but I walk on the road because being safe doesn't feel safe. I've been afraid that my anger will burn my walls down, worried that the blood of my past will scar the wall like they have on my skin. I've been scared that the floorboards will collapse any second because nobody ever bothered to invest in the foundation. I see my gravestone in the cemetery for the lost children, for the children who have destroyed parts of themselves in order to make living bearable, for the children who associate touch with pain, so embrace hugs with hate, for the children who don't know how to keep because they've never been kept. Home is like the moon. It will always be there. You can see its many different shapes and sizes. When it's dark out, it may protect you, but even if you climb the most unbelievably scary mountain to get closer to it, you'll discover that it is physiologically beyond you. I remember all of the houses I've lived in, but when I look at the moon, I remember the homes. I found home in her sarcastic comments, his Jamaican roots. I remember the conversations we had, discovering that our minds are bigger than ourselves. I carry on my shoulders our talks because they keep me grounded. I remember my first home, where you showed someone how much you love them by keeping their twisted secrets safe, where you played hide and seek with your emotions because feelings were a game you didn't want to play, where life became a coerced act where you were never happy or sad, just disengaged. I've since learned how to capture my audience, how to better embrace my scene, but still some days I feel the weight of the world on my shoulders and wish gravity didn't keep me down. It clouds my vision, it stops me from seeing the moon, it reminds me that I am a nomad, a wanderer. Sometimes I get lost so I can find myself. Sometimes a single question can force you to go down memory lane and remind you about the most beautifully disastrous place you were forced to watch be destroyed, rebuilt, and destroyed. Home.
Thank you, Hanna. Well done. Good stuff. All right, our next speaker is not actually a spoken word artist, but he does happen to be the Chief of Police in the City of Toronto. Please welcome Police Chief Mark Saunders.
Thank you, John. Command officers, senior officers, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming here to Toronto Police Headquarters. It's really fitting to be here at headquarters. One of the reasons that I like headquarters, I've seen so many kickoffs, and it is so fitting that we're having this kickoff here. And John, you just made the assumption that I don't speak spoken word. That's correct, right? Actually, you're correct. And to clarify for people out there, Troy, it's the other bald guy. That's your dad, right? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. I didn't want Twitter to go crazy, so I just wanted to clarify that. But you know what? Here we are, we're kicking off Child Abuse Prevention Month. And I just want to thank Boost and CYAC and all the partners that have taken the time to start this campaign, to get the ball rolling. Speaking up for kids is such an important thing. You know, if we do not speak up for our kids, we fail as a society. Our kids are our investment. They are our future. And more importantly, they are our most vulnerable right now. And so this campaign resonates to me the importance of what we have to do. It takes a village to raise a child, and it is so important. So the difference that one phone call can make, if anyone sees any child being physically, emotionally, or psychologically abused, can make all the difference in the world to a person. And so it's so important that this campaign is loud and clear. And John, thank you, because I know you're going to be promoting it over the month. And so that'll be a large following that it'll be reaching out to. I want to talk briefly about the CYAC. You know, in policing in the days of old, we were doing too many things. We were doing too many things, and we were creating gaps. And now that we've learned the importance of having partnerships, good partnerships, and I got to say the CYAC represents partnership excellence. It really, really does. And I'm so proud of the fact that the Toronto Police is a part of that. And here we have Commander Bevan. Where are you? You're over there from Sex Crimes. And she talks to me on a regular basis on the successes of it. You know, the ability of conducting the investigation is one piece, but the healing process, the reestablishing self-esteem is such a bigger picture. And by working with partnerships, we are able to do that now. And I wish in a perfect world we didn't have to do this type of investigation. And yet here we are, 2 years, over 1,500 cases. So that's a testament of what's going on in our city. But I am refreshed to know that we have some of the best that are there in hard times to make it such a success. So in closing, I just want to say, let us be aware of child abuse, its existence, and let us be the ones that champion the importance of making that one phone call. Help them, help us speak up for our kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief. I'd like now to ask David Rivard from the Children's Aid Society of Toronto to come forward. And David's going to give us an outline of a radio campaign that, as I mentioned, begins after Election Day. 6 Toronto partners are launching it, and it is in order to achieve the objectives we've been talking about today, which is essentially to remind people that it's critically important and essential to child protection that everybody be involved. David.
Thank you very much, John, and I know you're from Montreal, so merci beaucoup. So the launch of Child Abuse Prevention Month each year provides Toronto child welfare agencies and partners an opportunity to collaborate on a few special events like this one, and to look for ways to get messages out about Speak Out for Kids out into our community. Although Children's Aid Societies also facilitate adoptions, manage foster care, and look for opportunities to work with families and children, one of the most important endeavors is really to get our message out and to have individuals make contact with Children's Aid Societies. Unfortunately, it makes it difficult at times to get these messages out. With our limited communication resources, we are often not able to reach a wide audience and inform them about the important life-changing work that is being done by child welfare organizations and advocacy groups and police and neighborhoods to keep children safe. That is why we are so pleased this year that the 6 child welfare organizations in our community here today were able to partner with PhD Canada, one of the leading media and communication agencies in the country, Bell Media, Canada's premier multimedia company, to create unique campaign on public service announcements. Beginning on October 19th and running at various intervals into the new year, over 130-second radio spots will air on local stations such as Chum AM FM, CFRB, CKFM, and John Moore's own Talk 1010, stressing the importance of the work being done by child welfare advocacy protection workers by reminding the public that we all have a duty to report child abuse and neglect. Without the partnership of PhD and Bell Media, who have collectively provided over $15,000 of pro bono creative studio and airtime, we would never have been able to mount and sustain such a campaign. So on behalf of all of us here today, I want to thank you, John, for giving of your time to MC this event. Also to PhD and Bell Media, whose representatives are also here today, for helping us to keep Toronto's children safe and families safe. Thank you again.
Merci, Monsieur Rivard. It's my pleasure now to ask Ken Richard to come forward. He's from Native Child and Family Services, and Ken is here today to introduce us to Young Creek, a traditional Native drum performance group.
Thank you very much, John. I want to, because it's opportune, to point out that next door to this grand edifice is our humble agency. We have been in the child welfare business for about a decade, but we've been actually providing services for many, many more years. You always know when something important is going on in Indian country when a big drum is in the room. So it's quite fitting that we have here today our Young Creek drum group. This group is composed of many individuals, 3 with us today, Gabe Gadet, Nathan Roy, and one of the staff at Native Child and Family Services, Jay Lomax. So they're going to do a performance piece, a powwow piece, and that brings, I think, a fitting near conclusion to this event. That drum, in our view, is got a lot of potential. That drum that they're playing is, in fact, a drum that is in our lodge and provides comfort and support in a very tangible way in some of our programs. So we're very happy to bring it here and to kick off this month in a good way. And I'll ask the group to take it from here.
To close out this very important morning, I'd like to ask Karen Kennedy from Boost Child and Youth Advocacy Center just to say a few words. Karen.
Thank you, John. I'll just move this down. Wow, what a wonderful morning we've had. I'm so thrilled to be here at what I hope becomes an annual event to launch each October with optimism and hope. An opportunity to remind our community that it's everyone's responsibility to help keep kids safe and to encourage the young people in our community to use their voice and be heard. Thank you to Bell Media Group and News Talk 1010 for their partnership on the very exciting radio campaign that David talked about earlier. This first ever collaboration will help bring awareness to a critical issue in our city and the responsibility of Torontonians to make a difference in the lives of our children. I'd like to echo my colleagues in thanking all of you for attending today's launch for Child Abuse Prevention Month and Speak Up for Kids Toronto campaign. A most special thanks to Troy and Hanna, who eloquently shared both their talent and their very important messages, as well as to Young Creek for your very powerful performance. All of you have done a wonderful job in furthering our message to speak up for kids. Lastly, I encourage everyone here to use their voice this October and throughout the year to spread the message that our children can't wait. They need us to speak up for them when they cannot speak up for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And that concludes the Toronto Child Abuse Prevention Month launch. I want to thank our sponsors again, the 4 Toronto Children's Aid Societies, Boost Child and Youth Advocacy Center, the Toronto Police Service, PhD Canada, my own company, Bell Media, if we can blow our horn for a moment. We're very proud to be a part of this. And I have to say, I guess I don't hang out enough with as many young people as I probably used to and probably should, because the vitality and the creativity and the energy this morning is invigorating. And I thank our artists who have all performed. And I'll just remind everybody, of course, We have a duty to report. We have a duty. We owe it to our communities. We owe it to our children. We owe it to our youth. Not just today, not just October, but every day, in every month, in every year. And that's what builds us a stronger community and a stronger Toronto. Thank you very much.